Hello. Hello, everybody. What's going on? A little bit earlier than I usually stream. I was hoping to get up and stream even earlier than this, but I didn't get the chance to. Got real busy, so we're stuck with this. But I'll do what I can. I'm gonna be coughing like a little bit, clearing my throat out a little bit. I'm a little snotty today. I have no clue why. It's kind of it's the big suck, if I must say so myself. But we make it happen. So today, what's on the docket? What's on the docket today? Today we're gonna be playing Sekiro, but also today I'm gonna hop back into my my little politics stream. All right, all right. I am. I am going to go over a couple of things that I found. I found a couple videos over the last few days that I've compiled and I want to put together and talk about because they're really bad. They're surprisingly bad. So I decided to give them a little bit of justice to make fun of them, which truly is an honor by someone like me because I'm always right. Everybody is cringy except for me and I'm always right. Remember this. So we're going to get started in just a second. I want to make sure I have all this together. All of my thoughts together, all of my stuff together. This is muy importante. Muy importante. Politics are dumb. I hate politics so much. I hate them so much. I hate that people are allowed to speak. I hate it so much. No one should be allowed to speak. And everyone should be submissive. They should submit. True facts. To the one truth. The one true truth. Which is that people who are left-handed aren't real people. I'm joking. All right. Okay. So what's first? Give me my freaking webcam, bro. Where's my webcam? There we are. Hello. Today, what are we doing? This is very important. Today we're going to be talking about a couple YouTube channels. One is named A Radically Moderate, which the title of this stream is named after. Another one is what's his name? It's King Tex. Both are very small YouTubers. And then we're going to be going over a couple of tweets that I didn't like. But both these are from small YouTubers who made absolutely terrible videos, scum of the earth, that I want to talk about today because that's easy bashing. Easy bashing. Yep, we're picking out the low-hanging fruit today. Hello, dog? Hello? He's freaking out. I have no clue what he's doing. But let's get back on track. Music can come down a little bit. All right. So was it Monday or it was earlier this week? It may have been Monday or earlier this week. Was Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Great guy. Dog. Shady. Stop. Oh my gosh. He can't take these kids anywhere, I swear. It was Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Very important day for us. For us. And to honor him and to honor his legacy, I would like to take a quote before we get started. I would like to take an MLK quote before we get started. I have one already pulled up. We can take a look at this together, right? And what is this quote? It's going to become very important very soon, let me tell you. So this is I have almost reached my almost reached the regrettable conclusion that the Negro's great stumbling block in this stride towards freedom is not the Ku Klux Klaner, but the white moderate who is more devoted to order than justice. The moderate. The moderate has been the greatest holdback, one of the greatest holdbacks to true freedom for lots and lots of groups of people. In this country, in lots of countries all over the world. I would explain it more as being way more devoted to being now. I mean, before it was like way more devoted to like order and just like wanting to be well, I guess order. Yeah. Order and everything being nice and clean. Let's not get too hasty. Let's not move too fast. That kind of thing. The sort of Biden type. Now, I feel like a lot of people who call themselves moderate are way more devoted to fence sitting and being in the middle and feeling smart. Their enlightened centrist is what I see a lot more today than people who care about order. Because a lot of the time they're shit stirrers themselves. So with this in our mind about the moderate, about being a stumbling block for justice for lots of different types of people, black people in their day, we could say trans people today, or other groups, women, still black people, but you know, they're taking less of a seat now that the whole racism's gone because of the Civil Rights Act. Yes. We can move over to something else, which is this boyo right here. This is the channel of Radically Moderate. Also, I'm turning down this music. I'm turning off this music. Enough. This is the channel of Radically Moderate. Who is this? Radically Moderate. Well, actually, let's let him explain himself.
Hey there, I'm Radically Moderate. Welcome to my channel. I started this channel as an experiment.
Let's turn it down. He talks really slow.
Censorship.
Whoops.
Taking place and how it was affecting creators, and I can already see the results firsthand. But I've been adopting and trying to learn to fight, play with the algorithm, to learn more about how hard it is for creators, and it's been quite a learning experience. To figure out if there's censorship, I have to make content. So you see.
So apparently he made his channel to see how the algorithm affects content creators. Okay. And this is a 6-minute video. We're not going to go through this whole video about what he is. I think it's more important for him to show us who he is than for him to tell us who he is. So let's go, right? Let's look at his videos. Lots and lots of videos. Let me tell you, lots and lots of videos. I found this guy's channel about a week ago. So these were the first videos that came out when I was looking at his channel about a week ago. As you can see, since I've watched a few today to get reacquainted with with what he talks about. And as you can see, I've missed like an entire library of videos. This is a lot. He puts out a lot of content every single day, sometimes 3 times a day. He puts out a video. This is a lot. And we all know about the old idioms between quality and quantity. So let's without further ado, let's move into what he talks about. This first video is going to be about David Pakman. He doesn't like David Pakman because he is a centrist, and David Pakman is too far left. This radical centrist will pull everyone back to the great center, which all ideas spawned from, like the Big Bang. All ideas spawned from this primordial point of centrism that he is striving towards every single day. David Pakman bashes undecided voters. Now, Let's see what Mr. Radically Moderate has to say about the poor undecided voter being absolutely demolished by the likes of the Argentinian Jew.
Pac-Man, he runs a
Oh,
pretty popular left-wing YouTube channel.
he does.
Tim
He does
Pool says
indeed. I'm subscribed to David Pacman. I like myself a David Pacman. Pacman.
Incredible. This guy is a sophist, though. He will lie about things to convince people of points that aren't true.
Amazing. I want to hear that again.
Tim Pool says he's credible. This guy is a sophist, though.
Tim Pool says he's credible. All right. Taking points from Dim Tool. Amazing. I love it. I always remember the pure brilliance of Tim Pool when he was debating Sam Cedar and he was like, "Well, Sam, I'll have you know, you may be chagrined to know this, but oftentimes your ideology is the villain in movies." And Sam was just like, "I don't care." And then Tim was just taken aback. He's like, and it was the funniest thing ever. I hate that guy so much. But anyways, apparently Tim says that Pacman is credible. Means literally nothing coming from Tim. But apparently David is also a sophist who lies about anything to convince people, which is saying nothing, but okay.
He will lie about things.
He'll lie about things. We know this. All right, so what do we know about Pacman? He'll lie about things, and Tim says he's credible.
To convince people of points that aren't true. You take everything he says with a grain of salt, okay?
Take everything everyone says with a grain of salt, especially me.
But he's got 800,000 subs on YouTube.
He does.
Are undecided voters just dumb? If you change your minds, are you just dumb?
Being undecided is not the same as changing your mind. I don't know what he's talking about. You can change your mind, and I don't think that makes you dumb, depending on where you're going. If you change your mind from like civil rights to being a Nazi, you're probably dumb. I don't know, if you change your mind from like Warren to Bernie, you're probably okay in my book. If you change your mind from, liking pizza, pizza without pineapple to liking pizza with pineapple, that means we just have to bring back the guillotine. That's all I'm saying. In Minecraft, though, not in real life.
Let's get to audience questions. I love this first one because it's something I've thought about for a very, very long time, really since I first became engaged in politics when I was in high school. The question is, hey, David, how could anyone still be undecided about whether or not they're going to vote for Donald Trump? I also want to know how this is possible. And it seems to me that there's a few different things going on. I mean, I actually want to know, how is it possible to really be a swing voter? Do they not know or pay attention to what the parties and candidates represent?
Okay. He pauses. I want to pause too, because he's going to spit some dumb stuff. And I want to jump in to interject before he does that. The best interception play is what I'm going to pull here, okay? Undecided voters for the general election probably are dumb. But most people in the country are what most people can call dumb, right? Because a lot of people have more things to do in their life than pay attention to politics. Feed their kids, make sure their bills are paid, go to eat, birthday parties, just life. For a lot of people in the US is hard enough without trying to figure out who you should vote for. And a lot of the times, for a very long time, electoral politics has been very bad and very much a letdown for a lot of people. So instead of paying attention to that, they pay attention to their actual life. Now, does this excuse people for voting in ways that hurt the country and or other people who are in it? Absolutely not. This does not. And I think people 100% should be held accountable for their votes, whether you vote or not. Not voting is also a vote, in my book. Not voting is also you saying something. Saying nothing is also saying something. This is not controversial. So, are undecided voters something that we can call dumb? Probably, yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna vote for the guy who lies literally every single day, sets up concentration camps on the border, tries to lock out brown people from getting into the country because they bad, um, lied about his military actions, lied about lied about the whole Ukraine debacle. Was confirmed by the Mueller report to commit at least 7 counts of obstruction of justice. This guy is not a good guy. This is not someone you could really like. And be like, yeah, well, a little wishy-washy, you know. He's just by definition one of the worst presidents we've ever had. Maybe the worst, besides Andrew Jackson, who started the Trail of Tears. That's pretty bad. Yeah, he's a pretty terrible person. And being undecided right now on whether you want to go this way or you want to go that way, 'cause I think you can call that person dumb. I think you can call that person dumb.
Well, hold on. What's first thing we have to remember is people aren't rational, okay? 90% of the time, people are being irrational.
Okay. Starts a video. He looks at the duplicitous Pac-Man, the sophist duplicitous Pac-Man, who uploads a horrid video bashing the poor defenseless undecided voter for the general election of 2020. He comes out guns blazing against this horrible accusation that undecided voters are dumb by saying they're not dumb. I'll have you know, undecided voters are not dumb. They just don't think rationally or use logic when voting. But they're not dumb.
Even
Continue.
Right now, okay? The only few times people are being rational is like when they're balancing their checkbook. You're making like mathematical equations, you're programming, you're trying to get a logical result on the world.
Yeah.
You're not using your emotions and feelings, okay?
You 100% use your emotions and feelings when balancing a budget. Like what you should pay for, what should get where you should allocate your money for depending on this and that aren't like necessary goods. You can't. I mean, even some necessary goods like buying food. What food you should buy when you go out. This is 100% you using your emotions and what you believe. But your goal is, I believe everyone's goal is, unless you're just like a Posadist or something, or someone who just wants to watch the world burn, which I mean, those people exist. But most people, 99% of people, I'd say, would like to vote for someone who's going to make the world better, no matter what that means. They want to make the world a better place. Most people do. I highly doubt many people go to the voting booth and say, yes, which person can I vote for to make the world a worse place? Well, I'd say some Republicans do for certain groups of people, but they want to make the world better for others. This is not helping your case.
When you're figuring out who you're gonna vote for,
yes, tell us
whether some people should be deported or not.
Okay.
These are all emotional arguments, bro.
Okay, you can use logic to reach conclusions, right? You can use logic to reach conclusions. I mean, sure, a lot of sure, this is an emotional decision, I guess, but we can still use. We can't use equations since this isn't math, but we can still use a sort of logical basis to reach from starting point to end point to seeing if we should deport random human beings from this country.
And people aren't using their logical processes.
People aren't using their logical processes to vote, but they're not dumb, guys. I promise you.
Are they voting based on personalities or physical appearance or something else? It has never really made sense to me. And I think that there's a couple of different...
Yes. I don't know what are they arguing about? What is he upset about? He agrees with everything Pac-Man is saying. Pac-Man's like, they probably vote for appearance and their emotions and who looks better and who sounds better and all of these things that isn't like policy. and he's absolutely irate. Look at him, he's mad. He's mad. He's like, but they're not dumb. They're not dumb though. They just don't care about policy, which I would say is dumb.
Physical appearance or
Yes.
something else. It
Yes.
has never really
Yes.
made sense to me.
He thinks this makes him look smart. He thinks this is a smart play.
And I think that there's a couple of different things going on.
Oh, let me give you an example of my own self, okay?
Okay.
I voted for Obama in 2008 when I was
Okay. Oh, this guy's an Obama Trump voter. He's probably gonna say that, but
18 years old, freshman in college. I was duped into it, okay? I was like, oh, I'm
He
gonna
was
vote
lied.
for the first black president and solve racism.
that's dumb. That's dumb. If you voted for Obama for that reason, you are dumb. What do you? You are dumb. And this he believes that racism was ended because we voted for the first black president. Who cares about hate crimes because the first black president was president? What do you mean hate crimes are worse? Obama was president. That means racism no more.
And then by 2012, I voted third party because I was disillusioned at Obama for not legalizing weed yet. I'm like, how does the first black president not legalize weed, bros?
Also dumb. Casually racist and also dumb.
That was my thought process back then. Okay.
All right, so we've passed 2 elections so far where he's voted with his emotions and really poorly, really dumb. Really, really dumb. But he probably didn't want Obama to legalize marijuana so people with non-violent drug offenses peddling marijuana who just wanted to feed their kids are sitting in jail for 10 years. It's probably because he just wanted to smoke behind his high school. What is this? Some people simply tune out because they're sick of being called stupid, bigots, blah, blah, blah. And the sun. A full plate. Yeah, 100. I agree. Right? I agree that 70% of people are living in paycheck to paycheck, okay? It's very privileged to sit on here on this stream or anywhere else, or even sit down and read the paper to try and take in all the information that's out there. Because there's a lot of information, and literally everybody can, with an internet connection, can put their horrible opinion out there, right? You could even think that my opinion's horrible. Whatever, it doesn't matter. This is a lot of information to take in, and it's hard to, especially if you live, if you're forced to live outside your means or you're struggling to make it by. You just got to get up and go to work, okay, to make sure you can get your bills paid. But we live in America because I'm talking U.S. centric, okay? Because there's one country in the world and I'm living in it. All right. We control whatever form of control you want to talk about, but we still live in a democratic republic. We control one of the largest economies in the world, if not the largest economy, and the most powerful military force in the world, right? We have a lot of say on what the agenda is for the entire planet. Us voting poorly affects not only us, but the entire world and the future for people who aren't even here yet. So I would say that it's okay to look at someone and who's choosing between the candidate who wants to institute 17 death camps and the candidate who wants to who thinks that that's too much and we should institute only 3 death camps, and the candidate who thinks that we shouldn't have any death camps but we should only have concentration camps, and any other candidate, no matter how you want to describe it. Not paying attention to that in any sort of way, I think you can call dumb. When we can, and this isn't I'm trying to pick my words correctly. This doesn't go against what I said when saying it's very hard to do this. but it's something that's extremely necessary when we talk about the gravity of our decisions and our politicians' decisions on other people's lives and countries across the world that we don't have time to deal with, right? Because we're busy just trying to live. And obviously, I think we should treat these people with more of a kind hand than call them stupid or a bigot or this or that, because that implies like actual malice. And I highly doubt lots of people, lots of groups of people have actual malice when talking about these issues. There's some people, you know. This makes me think back to these interviewers going to like Trump people in like a diner, and they're like, "Stop showing me crying kids at the border. I don't care. We just need to line up a bunch of AR-15s and just gun them down." Like these people probably want malice on other humans, right? And other examples like the prison system, something like that. We always talk about punishing people, then and then complain about why people they go to prison and they become monsters and come out and then be monsters and go back. And we complain about that when our only goal for prison, if you ask a lot of people, is just to punish and create suffering. But I think it's okay to say that people who are just so out of the loop that they're voting for actual harmful politicians, to call them dumb. We should help them, definitely, and we should make the world a better place to where they can make better decisions. But this is still a dumb decision.
Joke.
That's my view.
But still, I knew that, you know, who was running against Obama.
But mostly the people. But I do want to preface by most of the people that we're talking about here are people who do have time. Right, we're talking about regular middle class people, not the people at the edge of society or homeless people or anything. I'm talking about middle class people like this guy, like me, like maybe you, who have the time to and care more about looks and personality and other things like that are not specifically policy and or bettering the world, right? These are the sorts of people that I'm talking about personally.
Obama in 2012. Was it Mitt Romney? And I'm like, this was just a corrupt system. It was just...
I mean, sure, it's a corrupt... See, he got to the right place, but from such a poor and dumb angle that it corrupted his entire view of the world. See, and then he became radically moderate.
There was two parties of the same machine running, you know? It was useless. It wasn't any. It doesn't matter who I voted for, okay? So I went third.
Not necessarily, but okay.
Party as a protest vote. And then in 2016, I vote for Donald Trump because I see him as actually legitimate non-politician, okay? This is actual real fucking change. I voted for Trump the same reason I voted for Obama. To get a new person in the office and hopes he'll shake things up a bit and, you know, fix some of the problems. Maybe the first...
Frank Adriel? Oh, sorry. I paused because I saw you pop up, but I wasn't sure how to pronounce your name. Rank Adriel, is that how you pronounce your name? Hey, what's up? Oh, thanks for the follow, bud. I really appreciate that. Okay, so we've gone through a couple elections so far with this guy. And so he voted for Obama because he was black. And then he voted for not Obama because black guy no legalized weed. And then he voted third party because both Obama and Mitt Romney were the exact same, apparently. And then he voted for Trump because he wanted to vote for Obama and Trump for the same reason, because they both weren't politicians. Maybe I missed, but let's say Trump wasn't a politician, so he's just gonna shake things up, I guess. He's gonna take the whole system and shake it around. I don't care if the pieces wrong land in the poor places, as long as everything's shaken up, right? Who cares about Trump literally bringing in the entire cast and crew of Goldman Sachs into the White House to run every all bits and pieces of our legislator, all bits and pieces of our executive branch. From the top down. And who cares about the guy who spent his career being extremely hostile to the EPA, now running the EPA, and who cares about the business associations from other places, and then who cares about that? Who cares? He's not a politician. Did you see the way he talks to people? He shakes his hand. He shakes his hands around. He does this. He says, we got to drain the swamp, my man. We got to drain the swamp. I love voting for that. I love it. Policy? Who? What? Policy. Never heard of her in my life. Did you see the way he talked to that guy? That was crazy. This is dumb. This is dumb thinking. This is illogical dumb thinking by a dumb man who thinks he's smart.
Black president will solve things in 2008. Maybe the first non-politician in 2016. Maybe in 2024 we'll have to have some type of like, I don't know, non-American? What will it be?
Mate, what is this? What is this train of logic? Apparently this hasn't worked for you. Black guy, no legalized weed. Non-politician guy exacerbates the politician-isness. Non-American, apparently, I don't know. What is this thinking? Maybe instead of doing these games, we vote in a politician who has a good platform, and then we push for them to realize that platform, and then we build on that to make a better country. But apparently, this is too much to ask from Mr. Radically Moderate.
First of all, a lot of these swing voters are uninformed. And I'm not saying this as a pejorative. We've analyzed, in fact, a lot of interviews with voters who, one was with a group of women who said, I voted Obama in 2012, and then I voted Trump in 2016. They were clueless. I mean, they didn't.
Oh, and Short Bus 720, I'm not sure if you're still here, but I 100% agree that voter shaming and voter bashing is 100% not the way to get to a better America or a better world. All right. The same thing, because so often it's weaponized by terrible people to try and get their way, to try and whip people into voting for them, even if it's against their interest. Right. You see this in the South here, with Southern people voting for politicians that are absolutely trying to destroy their way of life, right? But at least it's not those darn dirty lying Democrats. You see this with the Hillary Clinton people who just hate Bernie for breathing, and say that his followers are Satan spawn, who've been dredged up from the portal to hell to destroy every women candidate because they're all angry dudes, angry incel dudes, you know. And then they shame people. They shame and shame and shame instead of actually putting forth a good politician for them to vote on that wants to make their life better. They don't care about that. They don't care about any of that.
Know anything about what was going on. So I think part of it is that they are.
Would I vote for Ben Shapiro? Depends who he's running against. The main reason we voted for Trump was a lot of people were voting for not Hillary, okay? That was the reason Trump won.
Okay, listen. Trump and Hillary, both bad. Trump and Hillary, not equally bad. Hillary is better than Trump. Trump sucks. Hillary sucks. Hillary's still better than Trump. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to do it. I am Bernie Sanders through and through to my core. But Hillary's still better than Trump. And Hillary is still better than most Republicans. So I don't see how this is smart. Would I vote? Let's do his poorly thought out thought experiment. Would I vote for Ben Shapiro? Yes, it does depend on who Shapiro is running against. If Shapiro is running against the physical manifestation of pedophilia, then yes, I would vote against. I would vote for Ben Shapiro. So I've seen a lot of problems pointed out, but what are some solutions? Oh, solutions. I love prescriptive statements. Bernie the Millionaire, socialism, redistribution of wealth, 100%. Bernie the Millionaire, maybe a little bit of socialism, a little splash, just a little bit. Okay, don't kill him now. Just a tiny bit of socialism, and redistribution of wealth. All of these things are good things. I don't care that Bernie Sanders is a millionaire. I don't care if Bernie Sanders was a billionaire. I don't care if Bernie Sanders was a trillionaire. If he's the same person as he is today, I'd vote for him because I believe that his platform is going to lead us to a better America. I'm not sure if I'm like a leftist, as in like not a liberal, but I believe in like, but I think like a market socialist sort of system where we where it's benefit where we give like something like government grants to companies who want to push towards things like a workers ownership of the means of production, workers co-op type thing. I think that's good. And we rebuild our unions, something like that. That sounds all great to me. Redistribution of wealth, I see a lot of people throwing that term around like it's a pejorative, right? And that just comes from a lot of, I don't know, that feels like really high school level libertarianism to me, or just like really bad conservatism. Oh, thanks for lurking. I love lurkers. I'm also a lurker. I'm a lurker through and through. I love lurking. So I appreciate you being here. Don't even sweat it. Is voting for Bernie, but also a bit of a leftist herself. I'm a bit of a leftist too. It looks like we're cut from the same cloth. My sister. Should maximize human happiness. Oh, 100%. Maximizing human happiness and well-being is 100% my goal as well. And a lot of people say that and they throw it around and they think that I don't care about animal rights or anything. But I feel like it's shown that when we treat our world with respect, as well as our planets, that also reaps dividends for us in our personal happiness, right? There's a reason why we have animal rights and you can't abuse your animal or anything like that in certain ways. It always comes back to us no matter what we do, right? We throw trash into the ecosystem. The ecosystem comes back and hurts us. Global warming. We obviously see that Australia was burning. I think it was put out for mostly. But that hurts us personally, right? So taking care of our world always is going to come back for us to develop human happiness. So that seems like a decent core to start from. But redistribution of wealth. I want to get back onto that. I want to put a pin in that. We for a long time had really high what's it called? I forgot the actual term for it, but it's those tax brackets that over a percentage of your wage is then taken on top of that and given back to taxes so we can redistribute, so we can help a lot of people. Redistribution of wealth to an extent is great. Marginal tax rate is what I'm talking about. There you go. Just found it. A decent marginal tax rate. And a lot of economists have said that a 70% marginal tax rate seems like a really decent point to start from to help move some wealth back down to the lower 99% to help everybody get better. The state of the media industry, which falls under human rights, definitely is a huge implication for human happiness. Oh yeah, that too. I think right now our meat industry is really bad. It does a lot of damage to the environment with logging and farming and stuff like that. The way we gather food today is really toxic to both our world and for animal rights, and I totally agree with that. And I would like to that and the health benefits as well is why I personally have tried to get 1 day, 2 days in there a week where I try to eat no meat whatsoever. I still love animal products. I love milk. My grandma called me a milk baby. I love milk. I can go through a gallon of milk in probably half a week. Okay? I love milk. Honey. I think bees are insects. And I'm fine with eating insects and I'm fine with eating honey. I love bees. Save the bees. Oh, you're allergic to milk? You're lactose? We got a lactose girl in chat. Yikes. Yikes-amundo. Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. You know what? We'll have some coconut milk in the corner for you. Chillin'. I'll get some ice cubes in it. You get some honey. You can put some honey in there if you want. All for you, okay? Yeah, I hate crickets. If we could eradicate crickets by eating all of them, I'll go for it. They stink, they chirp, and they bite all three things that I hate in this world wrapped together in a little Satan spawn of an insect, which is crickets. I hate that. I hate them so much. I hate them so much.
If Bernie was running, I'm convinced Bernie would have won against Trump.
This is truth.
2016.
This is truth.
I don't think that will happen again in 2020.
Oh, wow. Big boy in chat says that Bernie Sanders has no chance against Donald Trump. Says the radically moderate boy. I guess there's only one way to find out.
Of the facts and probably making decisions on the basis of rhetoric that they are not then researching the truth of.
This 110%. I think we've all come across the human being out there in the wild who loves rhetoric. I think the right is completely fueled on rhetoric. That's all they have is rhetoric. I remember, and we whatever about Destiny, but I think Destiny once said that most conservatives are a couple questions away from having their whole world blown apart. That's because they completely run on rhetoric. The left has terrible rhetoric, absolutely garbage tier, and lots of sections of the left don't even want to compete. They don't even want to compete. Dude, it's incredible where they go like, we shouldn't even have to tell you that, okay? Just get good. It's like the get good sentiment from actual human beings who want to make the world a better place, who want to stop suffering. This is incredible to me. Rhetoric is incredibly important for getting people's lives across. So I think the right has a lot of rhetoric, but no substance, and the left has a lot of substance, but we're terrible at rhetoric, right? The right is extremely good when it comes to things like political comics that you can just push forward that has complete rhetoric and it feels right. Because today, to get a point across, it doesn't have to be right, it just has to feel right. And I think if anybody goes into that and thinks about that for a second, they can easily agree. Let me catch up with chat. Docile in the chirp. There are it's like the feeder crickets is what I'm talking about. Not like the black crickets. Those are okay. But all crickets are weird. But I'm talking about feeder crickets where you have them in like those cardboard egg cartons like around here. I live in like Kentucky, right? But mostly the feeder crickets that you get, they stink to high heaven, my man. My girl, they stink really bad. They poop, and then they'll actually bite you. You pick them up, you try and pick up a little cricket, play with them a little bit, he'll bite. They're crazy. And also, this is why a lot of people who keep like insectivorous pets, people who have like baby snakes, so they can't feed them like pinkies or anything, is why they've started moving away from crickets and moving towards like things like dubia roaches and mealworms, is because crickets, if left in a cage with a pet that doesn't want to eat, will actually kill the pet. There have been lizards that have been killed by gangs of gangs of crickets because they're that crazy. They're insane. They're terrible. They're absolutely crazy. I hate them so much. Main problem with socialism that the delusion that and the implication it will somehow cure all the world's ills, classism, racism, blah blah blah, wealth disparity. I think so evidence supports such claims. History doesn't support this. Now, right. We have to separate what do we mean by socialism. When I say socialism, I say workers' ownership of the means of production. So this means things like, so this, for me personally, right, this is my definition, could mean things like heavy union involvement in lots of workplaces. This could mean things like mostly like workers' co-ops. But for me, in lots and lots of places where socialism has been tried out, I guess, or has been used to move into more like authoritarian systems, the government itself has been seen for lots of the world's for lots of the woes. And class reductionism is what I think you're thinking of, is a terrible thing that we need to move away from. Lots of tankies do this, who are like, oh, Hong Kong, the protests, they're kind of bad. I'm kind of skeptical of them. Sure, like China may be like a brutal dictatorship that people just disappear in Tiananmen Square, blah, 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 blah. But at least it's not Western imperialism. That needs to go. That's terrible. That's absolutely garbage. Socialism as in workers and regular people campaigning for their own rights, better places in their work environment, democracy in the work environment. I think that's good. And that is not fueled through government. I think when most people are talking about when they say things like socialism, they say things like what they really mean is things like state capitalism, right? Which is like China. There's nothing in China that you can point to say that they're communists. They're absolutely not communists. They're the furthest thing from communism that I can probably think of besides Saudi Arabia, I guess. They're state capitalism, right? This is state capitalism. Same thing that happened with Venezuela. This is all state capitalism, right? Under the guise of socialism. And right-wingers will throw this out literally all the time. They say, ooh, yeah, I got you leftists. I got them now. Did you know that the word Nazi in Germany, when it's put back into its original German meaning, means national socialism? Got him. This means Nazism is actually leftist. Like, this is a horribly dumb take for many reasons, mostly because nothing the Nazis did was really socialist. So sure, they implemented a couple of social programs. I wouldn't say that's socialism. That's just social programs. Any form of new society, socialist, communist, blah, 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 will be torn apart if issues of bigotry are not addressed by creating a society with efforts. Oh, I do think that lots of issues of bigotry, tribalism, when it comes to in-groups and out-groups inside of the bigger group, which would be like the nation, probably needs to be dealt with in a much better way before we even start to try to transition to another system. I think this is true, right? We don't want another transatlantic slave trade on our hands, right? Depending on no matter what or who is being exploited in that sense. I think we can all take this. Solidarity 100%. Yeah, take a big solid stance against bigotry. Heck a bigot. They're all terrible. Yeah. I'm glad. I hope I can cricket pill you to be on the train that crickets are actually monsters. I hate crickets almost as much as I hate mosquitoes. Well, I think that I'm thinking short bus, right? I think that a lot of people are dumb because they don't have any time to actually go over any policy, right? We can look at places like the UK, a lot of our sister countries in Europe who have way better relationships between the people and the government, way healthier relationships between the people and the government there, right? Our government, for the most part, is fueled by money, which means that a lot of politicians who run on a lot of policies, unless you're conservative, really does not mend well with the reasons why a lot of people felt like they should be in office. And this makes a lot of people disillusioned with the political process. And this makes a lot of people be disassociated with it. And then it's a vicious cycle. And then voter shaming comes up and a lot of these things, right? So if we look at places like Sweden or Norway or Belgium, where they have way better relationships with their government, what do we see, right? Lots of more people who are, well, for one, in the middle class. Lots of money has been moved back into the middle class. So it's not as stark as a difference between like, you know, a handful of people owning the same amount of money as like the rest of the country. And even if that was true, where a handful of people own the same amount of money as the rest of the country, but the vast majority of the rest of that country, where instead of it being 70% of people who live paycheck to paycheck, it was 20% of people who live paycheck to paycheck, we'd see a lot better we'd see a lot less people falling for easy rhetoric. We'd see a lot less people falling in the trap of being disassociated with the government. I think this is economic stability leads to a lot more people being involved in the political process. Personally, and I think we've seen this from the foundation of this country all the way up to today, where people were just like farm hands and information couldn't even get out, and the founding fathers were like the people are just too dumb to do policy. I think people don't have the time or effort to actually do policy. This is why I don't think we should vote on direct policy. We should usually, because just people just don't have the time to read up into all of it. That's what senators are for. That's what House members are for. That's their job. That's their only job, which should be their only job. And this is going to help alleviate all of that. Now, obviously, we can't alleviate all of it, but I think this brings us to a much better place. Okay, I think we're about good. I like your answers. I like your questions, Short Bus.
They are
no matter where they come from. Well, I need to get a new mouse. My mouse keeps double clicking, so I really need a new one.
I don't think it's particularly good for our society. I mean, listen, I'd rather between Obama and Trump, I'm voting for Obama. As a society, I don't know that we're better off for people falling for either candidates or either party's talking points in terms of what it means about critical thinking and the ability to analyze assertions for yourself.
Yeah, like critical thinking and being able to analyze policy positions on your own is an extremely important skill for a modern society. And I have no clue what radically moderate is being so mad about, what he's being so indignant about, when literally everything that he's saying coincides with David's point. But I think he's just mad that David said that they can be called dumb. I don't know.
But there's that element first and foremost. People who just don't really know what's going on. There's another thing, though.
Also, tribalism is really, really big when it comes to people voting against their own interests. People care way more about party than anything else, honestly. In a lot of different places. I would like to tie it back to here in the South with lots of people. There's a book I want to read soon. I need to pick it up. I keep putting it back, but I need to pick it up. I want to get back into reading. It's a book. It's called Dying of Whiteness, right? And in that book, the author was traveling through places in Kentucky that have been economically destroyed, and lots of other places in the South, since we have really, really high rates of poverty and lots of desperation in this part of the country. And he found a certain man who would be greatly benefited by the implementation of the Affordable Care Act, right? It would have saved his life, actually. But he didn't want to, because he felt like it's going to help other people who don't work hard enough. And before the end of the book, that man actually died of his illness. And he couldn't afford the right treatment for himself to get better, because the ACA wasn't in yet. So this is more what I'm talking about. And that's an extremely sad story of misguided pseudo-hatred or real hatred, or I'm not sure what was really going on in that guy's head. We can never tell what's really going on inside of someone's head. But that's a really tragic story of how tribalism really affects us today, especially in this country.
That I think needs to be mentioned when we talk about the undecideds and the swing voters and the independents, which is there is a sort
Yeah, man, what the hell is going on with his hair? He looks like Gumby.
of psychological pleasure that some people get.
Bro, chill out. All right, you are the last person to be talking with this Kobe Bryant nobody epic hairline that goes up to the back of your head. All right, chill out.
By being the enlightened centrist, and you see.
Whoa, hold on. Oh, so somebody asked me a while ago, what is a radically moderate? Well, I'll tell you guys, I'm for radical centrism. I'm a fucking moderate, all right?
Mike Bloomberg. Indeed, Mike Bloomberg. Indeed. I hate that guy. You know what's interesting? I was born in New York, right? And on my birth certificate, Rudy Giuliani is on my birth certificate because he was the mayor of New York when I was born back in the 90s. It was really cool. And by cool, I mean actually terrible and disgusting. I hate that blob. blob of a man.
I
Yeah,
used to be like a left
yeah, hecka Bloomboig. Hecka Bloomboig.
wing college guy. Oh, I want free college when I was in college, and then I listened to a bunch of Milton Friedman, and I went far economic right.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Holtran, hello there. I would like to know your opinion on the N-word. As many blacks who say only blacks can say it. Some say no one can say it because the history in its entire, and some say they don't say it. Blah blah blah. Okay. My great N-word stance. Okay, I hope you're ready. I hope you're in your seat. I personally don't say the N-word. I personally don't. It's not in my vocabulary. I wouldn't get mad and say the N-word. Just the same reason why I wouldn't get mad and say like the R-word or call somebody any other like derogatory racial slur. I'm trying to move out of like appearance slurs as well. I feel more comfortable with black people using the N-word than most other groups of people, Hispanics included, because for one, of the history, and two, it's much less likely for a black person to be using the N-word and be dog whistling for any sort of malintent. It's much more rare to see a black person using the N-word and using it for like genuine hatred than any other group of people, just based on the history of the word and in the US specifically. I would rather the word just, my biggest preference is that the word just die out and no one uses it and it's a dead word and it's just gone, and every time anyone uses it they're looked at like their heads on backwards, right? This is what I want, right? But if it's going to be certain groups of people can use it, certain groups of people can't, I'd rather it be black people use it than on the other people, just because it's way more likely that it's not going to be used to push forward any malintent. That's me personally. So I guess my view is a amalgamation of all of the views that you've apparently heard from other black people. I don't think human nature is factored in. You have your doubts. Factory worker, vote. The food office table, close. Yeah. I guess I think we can. I think we can move in a direction that hurts the least amount of people. I think we can get there in a lot of different ways. We're a very rich country, the U.S., when it comes to just pure money sloshing around. I think we can move in a direction that helps mitigate a lot of the blows. But again, a lot of it is in the rhetoric and getting to people. I guess it'll just take time. And obviously, lots of people wouldn't vote in their own interests if they're cognizant of it. Okay, thanks. Yeah, no problem, bud. It's one of those questions that is truly person to person because it's like a massive thing. Gay rights type thing. Yeah, it one of those things is like, don't ever ask a gay person how they about the F word, right? Because I'm telling you, like 50% of them use it as like a kink term. They love it. They love the F word. They call themselves the F word. Okay. I think a lot of the times it's used for malice. Most of the times, especially on the internet, you use you hear the F word when it's coming from a place of malice, and I'd rather you not say it. But whatever. It's their word. Have them do with it as they please. Doesn't hurt me. It's available. Their comfort. Yeah, and like I'm saying, I hope I explain myself well, as in not to be the cringy, anytime a white person uses the N-word, the teeth in the anytime a white person uses the N-word, no matter what's going on, they like finish work and they step into their empty room in their empty apartment, and everybody in their apartment complex is gone, and they look at the ceiling and they speak the N-word under their breath, and it's like the teeth in the gears of the machine of racism gnash as the machine wakens, and racism lives once again. That's not true. It's not that crazy. It just depends, for one, on the context, and two, on your audience. I think in a comedy setting, I think if the comic is white themselves, and they're in an audience and they're cool with that audience, there's a certain context you can use the N-word there. You can read like Huckleberry Finn. Okay, you can read Huckleberry Finn in your 7th grade English class and say the N-word that's in there. I think you'll be okay. I think everyone's gonna be okay. But obviously lots of the time it's way more easy to use this as a weapon on accident for other groups of people than it is for black people. They live that experience every single day. So that's my opinion. It's great to understand. Yeah, 100%. Thanks. I really appreciate it. Yeah, obviously those people exist, and some people think I don't know, Jews control the world or anything. There are lots of dumb human beings in this world. Like I said, everybody with an internet connection can give their absolutely garbage opinion. I think you'll be okay if you're quoting Huckleberry Finn. In what context? Okay. Now, when Mr. Nick the Catboy Fuentes goes on and says, "Hey guys, welcome back to Nick Her Nation," right? I think we can easily say that this probably isn't a good use of a word that sounds similar to the N-word, right? I think when Steven Crowder puts out a shirt that says socialism is for figs, I think this probably isn't something that we should be okay with. Me personally, though. What do you hate the most? Tell me, brother. Yeah, no problem. I appreciate you, Tavi the Wolfness, for being here, for lurking, whatever. I hope you enjoy your food. I appreciate you for being here. Don't even sweat it.
And then I backed off a little bit that when I heard a little Jordan Peterson, and so now I'm just settled.
Wait, what happened?
And then I did college, and then I listened to a bunch of Milton Friedman, and I went far. You can college guy.
Wait, what happened?
Centrism. I'm a fucking moderate, all right?
Yes, radical centrist.
I used to be like a left-wing college guy. Oh, I want free college when I was at college. And then I listened to a bunch of Milton Friedman.
Super left wing. Oh, okay. Let's look at this guy. So I used to be a left wing college guy. Oh, human rights. Oh, college. This was cool. And then I watch a lot of Milton Friedman, and I'm like, poor people don't have the right to live. And now I'm here being the radical centrist. Amazing.
Freeman, and I went far
yes.
economic right, and then I did a lot of 4chan, and then I went to a little authoritarian right, and then
you were on 4chan, and it was just like authoritarian right. I see. Oh, I see. Okay, buddy.
But that when I heard a little Jordan Peterson, and so now I'm just settled. My policy, my
okay, so 3 out of the 4 sources where he's pulled his ideas from have been either conservative or 4chan. So honestly, I'm thinking that what this guy calls the center probably isn't anywhere near what most people would consider to be a centrist viewpoint.
My politics still evolve over time. I'm pro abolishing the minimum wage. I want to go back to the gold standard.
Well, like you said, right? Context does matter. And even in there, we could say, we split this opinion in, should we say the N-word? And it's context matters and context doesn't matter. And then even in the context matters, it's what context, and it's split 100 different ways between what is the context that it should matter. And I think at that point, it's just kind of a case-by-case basis to determine who said it, in what audience in what way, and then we can put that together to see, is this an okay use? Seems like a lot of work to do, but when we come from a history that's so terrible, I think we lose the right to just complain about this or that when it comes to context, right? Context does matter, 100%. But then we can disagree on what context matters, right? In what context this is acceptable in.
For a universal healthcare system, but like it has to be in a certain way, because I don't think it's right how expensive it is to have children in the United States. Child labor costs have to be cheaper. Okay, maybe we can get free.
Wait, what?
Have children in the United States. Child labor costs have to be cheaper.
Wait. Does he mean child? Wait, I think he means. Wait, what? What does he mean?
I'm for a universal healthcare system, but like it has to be in a certain way.
Okay, I think child labor. I thought he was talking about like nurses being like 12-year-olds pulling umbilical cords for the doctors or something. I'm like, oh, he means
because
to have a kid.
I don't think it's
This guy's 30, by the way.
right how expensive it is to have children in the United States. Child labor costs have to be cheaper. Okay, maybe we can get free. This is the thing though. I would be like free. You can get. It doesn't cost anything to give birth to a child in a hospital if you're married.
Oh, we've done it, boys. You see, and look at him. Look at his face. He's like, I've got it. Those filthy liberals. It's free, but only if you live the lifestyle I want you to. Be married, even though 50% of marriages fail.
That's how we pin it though. Because I'm a little bit more of a social conservative now. I don't know, man. I'm all over the place. Anyways, so
yeah, I can see he's all over the place, and none of it is linked back to any sort of logic. You appreciate my opinion? Thank you, bud. I'm not sure if you've expressed much of an opinion other than you're skeptical of socialism, but I respect. You seem to be asking decent questions from someone who's willing to listen, and hopefully I come across as someone who's not barking down your throat, right? I care about you, brother, okay? Change does need to occur, 100%. Our system is broken, 100%. When you say it's broken socially, I'm not sure what you mean by that. That sets off a little bit of an alarm, but I think there's some poor social conditionings that we have that probably need to be addressed. I don't know what you mean by that. I'm just pointing it out. Yeah, no problem. I hope I come across as an honest actor. I remember there was this one comedian, correct joke, and the intent was nothing more than a joke, right? I see this a lot, and I always meant to go over it, but I feel like a lot of people say, "Oh, it was a joke." It's a big cop out, right? Because comedy, ever since its inception, was always used to push something, right? Lots of people go, oh, it's funny because it's true for this and that reason. This is why we always remember like jesters being this like, ooh, this ancient truth teller in the monarch era that could say what no one else could say because he did it in such a way that made everybody laugh, but he was still saying something, right? You can call the king stupid for getting half of his legion killed. In a joke, in a joking matter, and not be like hung, right? It was said in a comedy club. You can hear a lot of people laughing in the audio track. Like I said, it was a neo-Nazi, one of those. No, I'm not sure what audio track, what situation you're referring to. But a lot of the times when we talk about a joke, right? I'm of the opinion that the intent doesn't necessarily matter, right? The intent can matter in the sense of how do we engage with this person when we disagree with what they said. because you didn't engage with someone who's like part of the Ku Klux Klan with like an edgy 15-year-old who said like the same exact joke different ways, right? But the effect of what happens and how it can be interpreted, if you're saying a joke that can easily be interpreted in a way that can co-opt another harmful view, I think we should probably be like, hey bud, chill out for a second. Right? And the same with jokes that have so many layers of irony that there's no difference from if you pick up these jokes and you put them on a piece of paper next to each other and you give it to 100 people and they cannot say that one is satirical and one is not, I think we've probably reached a level where we should back off for a second. And we see this a lot over the internet where, oh, it's just a joke, it's just this, and it's just that, it's sarcasm, it's this, it's that. If it can easily be interpreted in a way that can co-opt a harmful view, then you're playing into those people's hands super easily. And I think that's something we should look into because it's harmful. So you're saying social inequality is a very real thing? Oh, that's what you mean, bud? I 100% agree. I just want to know because lots of people, they come in, they say things like that. Yeah, social inequality is a very real thing. Let's turn on a little bit of I'm gonna put this in the background. I'm gonna put on a little bit of music in the background, just so it's not super dead air. Yeah, it happened about a year and a half ago. I'm not sure what you're referring to, but like I said, it just depends. And social inequality, super real, very bad. It's the big suck. It's dumb.
Centrist like me. People like me to David Packham, he can't wrap his head around me. David Packham.
No, I think he explained that. He explained how he could wrap your head around you. He just doesn't understand how you walk around and think of yourself as like a big brain intellectual. I think that's what he's really saying when he says he doesn't understand. Because he broke it down, very real. They get trapped into rhetoric. They don't understand. They may not have the time to. They lots and lots of different reasons he threw out, and he agreed with all of them. This dude agreed with everything that Pacman said, but he disagrees with. Okay.
And I exist. Don't deny my existence.
He knows you
Even
exist.
For Jews, when he says
media people who have YouTube channels.
Is that a?
Oh
they
no.
are independent and they are centrists and they will sometimes vote for Republicans and sometimes vote for Democrats. Is it possible that someone's ideology might sometimes point to voting for a Republican and other times point to voting for a Democrat? Absolutely.
Oh, 100%. Not in lots of places in this country when we're talking about U.S. politics. Once again, not in lots of places in this country, but in some places. Specifically, I want to talk about the New England, the Northeast. Larry Hogan, which I believe is the governor of Maryland. In Maryland, I'm pretty sure hasn't voted for a Republican in the presidential election in 30 years, 40 years, something like that. They have a Republican governor, and he isn't terrible. He is not terrible. I don't agree with him on everything. I highly doubt lots of people agree with him on everything, but he's not a terrible governor. And you can 100% vote for Hogan and then vote for another Democrat some other time. This is true, right? There are some Democrats in Kansas, Republicans in Kansas. Actually, socialism is still pretty relevant in Kansas. They don't have terrible Republicans there. Well, not all of their Republicans are terrible there. So it's 100% possible. But for this guy to be like, oh, I was like on 4chan, but also I kind of think that healthcare should be free, but only if you're like a traditional married wife, I guess. Then yeah, chill. Yeah, very intelligent boy. I like Pacman. I don't agree with everything he has to say, but I agree with him more than I don't.
Very local races. It's
cool guy.
less common, for example.
Very smart. He's also decently pretty good at debate. I like his debate style more than I like Kyle's debate style or Destiny's debate style. it's because it's just so methodical to me. It's just so funny. He is something that I want to do, where he just pushes someone out there and lets them pull out as much rope as they want, and then he pulls the carpet from under their feet and they hang themselves with it. That's my favorite type of debate.
Senate level, I'm sure we can find examples where you have, a very a Democrat that's conservative on issues you disagree with them on, and a Republican who is more liberal, for example, on issues where you agree, so you might vote for the Republican. These are very rare cases. So
Yeah, 100%.
I've met a lot of people who get some kind of satisfaction from
Yes, the enlightened centrists, they feel they're way more, we're done with that video, way more likely to be the type of person who gets off by feeling smart and feeling like they're in the middle when they're probably one of the least educated people out there who are talking. Conservatives versus progressive videos. I saw the one where it was like the feminists versus the men's rights activists, where it was like B-suit Andy, the Nazi Andy, the super incel that was there, who was like, we should care for women because they're like little children. I just want to protect them because they're little babies. They can't do it themselves. I remember that one. That was hilarious. But every other left-wing streamer did something about it. So I was like, maybe I'll be good. I don't really have anything to contribute here. Well spoken, yeah. That one was pretty cringy. But saying that, I guess I'd consider myself. Yeah, I saw the black one. The black one was really funny. The black one as well. They had this. I'm not sure if you saw it, but they had that. They recycle the same people. If you watch enough of those videos, you'll see they recycle a lot of people. Like the B-suit incel boy got recycled in like 3 videos. The black conservative who was with Charlie Kirk, the black gay conservative who was on Charlie Kirk with the TP USA, Toilet Paper USA. They recycle him a lot. He was on the liberal, the are all black people liberals thing. He was there too. So I don't know. But back to being like men's rights, right? I would like to be the sort of stream that talks a lot about men's issues because I think it's important. Lots of my contemporaries here, may they be trans men or women, women streamers, men streamers, they all talk at length about things like trans issues. They all talk at length about women's issues or other marginalized groups. And while I believe that's extremely vitally important, I don't want to leave anybody behind, right? And I want to talk about all of those issues, but I want to talk about men's issues as well, because I think that's extremely important, especially here on the internet. I think there's a sort of yearning for that sort of space, right? We see train wrecks with his shameless with his double squad W double standards for men and women, or just you could see. Listen, you say radical feminists. I'm not taking this to the left. I'm taking it to the right, because they're the ones who really promote a harmful lifestyle for men, who want them to drop down into these terrible traditional men's roles where they should be stoic and unemotional and just provide for their family and take all this sort of crap and bear it alone with a smile on their face, and suppress their emotions and then wonder why the men's suicide rate is so bad. So it's not the left or the right, it's everyone, really. Yeah, even the crazy ones. I think there was let me see. I don't know how to spell PragerU, but yeah, Make Men Masculine Again by PragerU with 9.1 million views. It's promoted all of look at these men be masculine again, right? They should marry. Look, he's a construction worker, he's a military guy. But oh, look at the cringe lord over here with the pink shirt talking about how women have it bad too. No soy boys allowed. Absolutely none. I hate soy boys. I hate them. And we can't have any gay people around too, because I'll be scared that I'm gonna suck their dick. But yeah, men's issues are real issues, and I think we need to talk about that. My brothers, I feel really bad for them being their masculinity and their strive to be masculine and be seen as a real man drives them to do terrible things. You don't know? Yeah, you don't know, bro. I'm telling you, it's all that. It's the globo homo. It's the globalist gaylords. Who do you think put forth ring pops? All right, who do you think put forth the Bop It toy? Now I got you thinking. I hate it so much. Those are real issues that we need to talk about, and that's something that I want to talk about sometime soon. Probably not right now, but. There's a funny prank video you saw. You don't know if you like heroin. Yeah, you don't know. It's pretty tasty. All right. People are talking about kick the Mexicans out. Let me tell you, their heroin's great. Let's move on to this pig puncher video. So emasculation is the cure for men's issues. What do you mean by what? Emasculation? What? Who said that they don't have to be masculine? I think guys should, if they want to, be masculine. You should be mask. Be whatever you want, brother. I just don't think you should be hated on for not conforming to this extremely bad form of masculinity that a lot of people try and push, right? Because we see this a lot. I was watching a video by a guy, his name was Lindy Beige, and he goes over a lot of he's like a swordsmanship channel. He does a lot of talks about ancient weapons and ancient military tactics, stuff like this. He did a video about tanks. He's building his own, well, not building, he's working with a blacksmith on getting his own suit of armor. He's a really great guy. I love his videos. They're like 40 minutes long, and it's like watching the best history teacher that you've ever had in like high school talk at length about his passion for ancient war and stuff like that. He's a great guy. And he talked about how men have a certain lifespan when it comes to being in the military, right? There's only so many friends you can have die. There's only so many lives you can take. There's only so much time you can spend with your life in permanent danger until you've just had enough, right? And he said that when these guys come in and they're young, the corporal and the captain and the sergeant can be like, "Hey, you're not man enough. You're not pulling your weight. You're not this. You're not that. You're just not living up to what we expect a man should be able to pull. A man should be able to pull." And those guys will jump into action. They'd throw themselves on a grenade if their sergeant told them they're not being man enough, right? And I don't think that's necessarily a healthy viewpoint on your masculinity to have, to constantly be having to prove yourself as a man by doing these dangerous acts. I don't think it's good. And a lot of the people who claim to care about men's rights will talk about, oh, well, women say that they have it bad. Well, what about all of the work-related deaths? Well, why do we think that men should go into these super dangerous, only men should be able to go into these super dangerous jobs? They don't think about that. Oh, you think, look at the suicide rate. Well, what's pushing them to be suicidal, right? Maybe it's their lack of being able to connect with other people, show any emotion. Guys have way less of social support than girls do. There's so many guys out there, and maybe some of you guys who are lurking or here in chat, so many guys who just don't have any friends or any friends they can't talk to about their actual issues. They can't. How many friends do you guys have? You guys in chat, how many friends do you have that you could go to if you're actually feeling depressed or you actually feel like your world's coming apart and you need somebody to talk to? How many do you have? Yeah, as long as Miku's here, My cum stained Miku. As long as she's here, who needs friends? yeah, brother. My bad. I forgot about the waifu. She replaces all. Guy giving his 2 friends gummies, and I guess gummies they were blindfolded. The girl. Teddy bears. Sour cock. Oh, was it the one where it was like the cock gummy, and he kept giving it to his friend? He's like, I'm not sure what this taste is. And he just kept sucking on it. Yeah, that one was actually funny. But yeah, you can't talk about these sort of issues, and even if you do, you're not man enough. But back to like the guys who like in the military like throw themselves on a grenade if their sergeant tells them they're not man enough, right? Once they grow up and then these guys are more comfortable with who they are and their masculinity, and they feel like they don't have to prove themselves to anyone, lots of those guys, that doesn't do anything for them. Like, oh, you're not acting man enough. Like, okay, I don't care. Well, the younger guys will, that's like the hardest insults that you can give to someone. Like lots of guys, right? We know the insults you give to guys. You compare them to women, you compare them to homosexual people, you compare them to children, and that just completely destroys his self-esteem. Like, yeah, you know, and that's terrible. And I don't think we should do that. But this is a video. This is another video that he put out about Pig Puncher. And he disagrees with Pig Puncher, Nazis, PewDiePie, all the good stuff. All the good stuff. Gotta order a custom made Onahold. Heck yeah, brother. I used to have like a thigh, not a thigh, like a hip with like the butt. I got rid of it. I had to get rid of it. It was just too much. It was heavy too. It was like 10 pounds. It was massive. We don't talk about that, okay? Don't tell anybody I said that. That's just between you and me, okay? That's between you and me. So let's hop into this video because he's really dumb in this one as well.
Calling you out, Big Puncher. This is it, the official call-out video.
The official call-out video.
All right. We're going to play this on faster speed because I don't want to be here all day.
Oh, same. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. He's going to speed up Pig Puncher and I'm going to speed him up.
This video. You're probably new to my channel and you clicked on this video because PewDiePie is in the title and I'm criticizing PewDiePie. Now, before you leave your dislike, I want you to hear me out here. Please, watch the whole video before you leave the dislike.
This is what I'm into, sign. Heck yeah. Listen, keep those fingers all the way away from my butt. And there's exactly one facility in the UK that is for men who are victims of abuse. Is that a toxic masculinity problem or the fact that society sees men as disposable? Listen, my brother, listen to me, okay? Listen to me very closely. Short bus, listen to me very closely. Because I don't want to mince any words here. I'm going to turn the music off. Toxic masculinity is a real thing and it kills guys. Toxic masculinity is what I was talking about. I just didn't call it that. It's the gung-ho, lead yourself into bad situations while trying to prove yourself to be a man. That's a form of toxic masculinity, what I was talking about just right now. But also a terrible form of toxic masculinity is also the view that men are disposable. 100%. The fact that a lot of the times we're supposed to be seen as the people who should jump into action no matter what's going on and be this like heroic superhero comic book character sort of type of a human being every single time is also a form of toxic masculinity. And what goes with that, right? The same way you can stop reading Superman and start reading Batman, the same way you can throw away one man who threw away his life to save other people. Oh, that's what he was just supposed to do. And we can move on to the next one. It makes them seem disposable. This all comes back to hurt men. It always comes back to hurt men. This is why I say we probably need to move away to another, move to another sort of masculinity, which keeps the altruism, but adds in more ideas of self-care. And I think this is more happening now, where a lot of women are no longer, and obviously women do play a role in this, 100%. Don't take this as me saying that women have no role in this, because they 100% do. Lots of women are moving away from the sort of big buff masculine boys who can pick them up with one finger and throw them on the bed and destroy them with their 20-inch Godzilla cock, and more towards the guys who care about themselves, who have hobbies, who have friends, who take care of themselves both physically and mentally. This sort of guy is becoming way more popular with women today, and I think that's very good. But 100% women, don't I want to be destroyed? Maybe. Listen, we don't talk about that, okay? I don't talk about that here. But this comes back to her guys. This brings back a lot of ideas that we're disposable, that we're just replaceable. Just get a new one. Who cares? This hurts guys a lot, and I think we need to 100% reclaim our individuality and reclaim our ideas of being our own singular people, right? Especially with being seen that we should be violent and should be dangerous, right? Because this comes back 100%. Why do you think that there's only one facility in the UK for men who've been abused? And I would hazard to guess that in a lot of those other places, men are probably banned, and at least in some way segregated or restricted from going into a lot of the places in those facilities. It's because they're viewed as naturally violent. They're viewed as naturally dangerous with our bulging floppy dongos, right? And our massive amounts of testosterone flowing through our veins like we're Bane from Batman. All of this comes back to hurt guys, and I think we should move away from it. Personally, I think that we have. I personally don't think it's more that we have something to prove. I just don't. Yeah, men are raised to, the whole like walk it off, or they're just being boys when someone's getting like their shit beaten. No, obviously not every time this is gonna come out to be some like dangerous thing for men's well-being, but I think in an unacceptable amount of times, the idea that they shouldn't show any weakness, that they shouldn't be shown as any sort of shouldn't be fragile in any sort of way, leads to emotional suppression and leads to things like violent outlashes and just being seen as more of a dangerous human being, which, like I said, comes back to hurt men all the time. Whole rape problem where just because a guy is raped and a horrible person. Yeah, I would say that's another form of toxic masculinity. Why are guys always seen as this dangerous human being that needs to be either segregated or a lot of the time not given the benefit of the doubt? Because, he's a guy, he's dangerous, because guys are more aggressive and guys aren't likely to show empathy or sympathy for any sorts of things. They're not caregivers. They don't give any care. They just out for themselves a lot of the time, and they do damage without any idea for their fellow human being. And a lot of these things come back and hurt guys. Comes back and hurts guys every single time. Every problem that a lot of these right-wing MRAs throw at society or women or whatever can be solved with lots of I'll say it, lots of tenets of feminism and lots of tenets of like, I mean, actual feminism, right? Not the weird, unhinged people who you could see a YouTube video about like angry feminists, this or that. We don't even know if those people subscribe to the tenets of feminism. They're just random human beings for one. And the ones that do and do such a poor job is to exclude like actual men's sufferings. They're not good feminists. And we can argue on how many of them there are and what percentage of feminism is good or bad. I don't really care, but academic feminism does include men's issues, and I think we should take a page out of that. Take a page out of that book. Teen was expelled from school because a bunch of girls said they raped. A week later, found out that the girl was a fucking bullies and tried to ruin his life through multiple. Yes, and why wasn't that guy given the benefit of the doubt? Why was he not given the benefit of the doubt? Why? Lots of it is due to men being seen as just naturally more dangerous. And you see this in a lot of ways where people are like, oh, but men and women should be separated in this instance or that instance because men are just more dangerous. They're just seen as more dangerous. No, like I said, I think I mentioned this. I'm not sure, but let me mention it again. Not everything, the idea of masculinity or people flexing their masculinity have touched has turned to shit. Okay? Masculinity isn't 100% bad. I think a lot of people, when they hear the term toxic masculinity, they think people are saying that masculinity in itself is toxic. It is not. Just like femininity, it's fine. It's fine to be masculine. It's okay to be masculine. It's okay to be feminine. It's okay to be this. It's okay to be that. It's okay to be white. It's okay to be black. It's okay to be Mexican. It's okay to be gay. It's okay to be trans. This is all okay, right? This is all okay. Be whatever you want to be as long as you're not hurting other people. But this little part of the tagline that I just said, as long as you're not hurting any other people, is what's good. What we should pay attention to. Don't hurt other people. And I think a lot of the times masculinity to in certain instances moves to an unacceptable degree of hurting other people. Same with femininity. Women are taught to be super passive aggressive. They gossip a lot. You ever wonder why why girls back in high school don't go to the bathroom alone? Lots of bad things happen. Girls bullying other girls is a massive problem. And all that stems back to toxic aspects of femininity, as well as many atrocities that I've talked about have been can be ascribed to toxic aspects of masculinity. Not all of masculinity is bad. Not all of femininity is bad. I think that we could find a nice radical medium between these two things. Not all men are rapists. Absolutely not. And I think a lot of this is something that we should talk about. And there's way more nuance to it than I think a lot of people are willing to talk about on the internet. Way more nuance to it. And I hope I've been able to explain this in a way that doesn't make it seem like this group or that group is so terribly more at fault than another one. Masculinity has built civil. What? We'd still be living in grass huts. What? I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. How can you explain to me how masculinity has helped develop the world? You don't know if he's a troll or something. Maybe, I don't know. Let's talk to him. Let's talk to level 3 witch doctor. Can you explain to me how masculinity has led to the development of the world? What aspects of masculinity has led to the development of the world that cannot be ascribed by femininity or some intrinsic aspect of being a man? has led to the development of the world. But let's move on in this video. Well, I'm double clicking.
So, PewDiePie has had a lot of drama for the last few years surrounding white nationalism, racism, neo-Nazism, all that. It all started, if I recall correctly, back in October of 2017, when PewDiePie was streaming some PUBG, and the N-word that was heard around the world happened. PewDiePie was on a bridge in PUBG. He hit a guy like 6 times with his fucking M4, if I remember correctly, and the guy didn't go down. Finished his friend. He had a heated gamer moment. He dropped the N-word. Most gamers, most people, me as well, it was...
Men naturally sense competition and innovation. Let me take a second. I can see that. I think what you're trying to explain more is like coalition building, because I think building coalitions with people who don't share 100% of your viewpoints is dumb, right? I think we should be building coalitions, but I think a lot of the time, a lot of people try to bring up a middle ground where we can't really find. Is there